Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? On today's video, we're going to look at percentage-based budgeting and how you, on any income, can set up a strategic budget to help achieve your financial freedom and the goals that you have. Make sure to stick around until the end where I give a special tip to help catapult your savings and achieve your financial freedom. Welcome back to Simply Money. We're here to help you achieve your financial freedom. The channel is designed to provide tips and strategies to help you along the way to your financial freedom, and once you achieve it, to help you continue to build upon your wealth. Today's topic is budgeting on any income using percentage-based strategy budgeting. What is percentage-based budgeting? Simply put, it's taking every category and assigning it a particular percentage of your income. So we're going to look at using 100% of your income and what category should get what percentage. It's a very easy but flexible strategy to help you navigate through budgeting your finances to make sure you're achieving your goals toward your financial freedom. There's lots of different strategies and ways of budgeting. There is not a right way and a wrong way. We've looked at the 50-30-20 method. If you can check that video out here, it's just a way of helping you find what works for you. Everybody's situation is unique. Everybody's personality is unique. So you have to find what works for you. The goal is to find what works, stick to it, and achieve your financial freedom. That's the ultimate goal of our channel. So make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for the next videos and to comment, to leave us information about what's important to you. Share with the community as we build a community network on helping one another navigate into financial freedom and beyond. So let's start out by just categorizing typical budget items and what percentage should be used toward them. Again, you're going to have to go through your budget. You're going to have to go through line by line, put each item into a category that has a percentage aligned to it. But let's just start with this, because I was asked by several people, I don't even know what percentage I should be putting toward my house or putting towards savings. So this is just a general guideline, and these can be flexible and changed as you need to make sure you're meeting your financial goals. The purpose of it is to make sure we're not overextending in one area that's robbing us from another. In particular, we see this with people with their cars and with their house. A lot of people are house poor. They put too large of a percentage of their income toward household expenses. And they may have a big, lots of square footage home, but they can't even afford to put furniture in it because they're overextended. Or they can't afford to save toward their future self because their house is keeping them poor now. It may look good on the outside, but it's keeping them from achieving financial success and financial freedom, which is our goal. So let's start with housing. Housing should be between 25 and 35% of your income. Again, this is a big range. 10% can be a large amount. You have to make sure you're able to achieve that, and that's why we want to look at these other percentages first before we finalize, should it be 25 or 35%. And when you say housing, this isn't just your mortgage. This includes your insurance, this includes taxes, this includes utilities, maintenance and upkeep, everything to do with your household expenses. A lot of people think, oh, 25%, that's just my mortgage. And then they have taxes, they have insurance, all these other expenses that push it way beyond, especially if you're starting out at the 35% level, and that's just simply your mortgage. And then you tack on these other items, you start looking at 40-45% of your income is going strictly to housing, which leads to being house poor. The second big category would be transportation, your automobiles. And again, this includes all aspects. Fuel, upkeep, insurance, and that should be between 10 and 15% of your income. Now, our goal on this channel is to get you to pay off your car notes as part of your becoming debt-free process toward financial freedom. Then that percentage can drop way down because then you're only paying toward maintenance and fuel. And you can start putting aside funds for the purchase of your next vehicle so you don't have to take out another loan. So 10 to 15% should be toward transportation. The third category we want to look at is food. That should be 10 to 15% of your income. Again, food encompasses not only what you're going to the grocery store and bringing home, but it also includes the food when you order out, when you DoorDash, when you go out to eat with your friends. This should all be included in your food budget. Yes, we have another budget called entertainment, but a lot of people end up using their food budget on eating out and their entertainment budget on something totally different. So you have to decide if you want eating to be your entertainment, then that has to come strictly from your entertainment fund. If you're using your 10 or 15% on groceries and then additional money eating out. Again, you have to make it work for you, but this is just a guideline to help you stay on track to achieving this financial freedom that you're seeking. Savings and investment should be 10 to 15% of your income. Again, if you're starting out and you have a lot of debt or you have a very low income, this may be a little bit lower to begin with. And really, we should have put this category first because you need to save first and spend what's left. You need to make saving a priority. A lot of people leave saving to the end and they always say, I'll save what's left. Think about that for a moment. Imagine you could go forward in time and talk to yourself 30 years from now, or your spouse 30 years from now, and tell them, here, this is what's left. How do you think your significant other would feel if you said, hey, all these years I've been doing what I want and I saved the leftovers, here you go. That's basically how we're treating our future self and our future spouse when we say we're going to save what's left. We need to save strategically and purposely for our future. When I'm 70 years old, I want to be able to look back at my younger self and say, thank you for thinking of me and taking care of me. Thank you for giving up a few things then so I could enjoy things now and that I could be taken care of now. So savings and investing should be 10 to 15% of your income. Now we could go into some other things on what the saving and investing should be, but make sure you're setting aside immediately some emergency fund. A lot of people say $1,000. $1,000 may be great. You may need $2,000 or $3,000 just to get started, to have something there for a cushion so you're not going into debt, so you're not pulling out the credit card, but just set some aside. Then once you get your debt paid off, your credit cards, student loans, things of that nature, start building up a true emergency fund that is 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in case something happens. People lose jobs, people get sick, tragedies happen, unfortunate part of life, but when you have an emergency fund, it minimizes the stress and minimizes the financial damage it does to you. Part of that 10 to 15% is first setting up that emergency fund. It should be strictly savings. Once you have that emergency fund set, then we want to look at investing. Long-term investing. Always remember, investing is long-term. The fifth category we want to look at is debt repayment. And that should be 5 to 15% of your income, depending on how much debt you have. I would encourage reducing all of the other categories as low as possible and maximizing this out, even if it goes up to 20 or 25%, to get yourself out of debt. Then you can put more in those other categories and upgrade. You can upgrade your car, you can upgrade your house, you can upgrade your lifestyle to a certain point and then reduce the amount that you're spending on debt because you can get that amount down to zero. One of the greatest feelings in your financial journey is when the category of debt repayment can be zero and stay zero. 0%. Think about that extra 5 or 15% now that you can use toward yourself. It's strategic, it's planned, it's thoughtful, and it has great results. The next category is entertainment and recreation, and that should be 5 to 10% of your income. So just set that amount aside, budget it every month. You may not use it every month. Maybe you're saving up for a vacation. So you're putting that amount aside, accumulating for the future. Maybe next summer you're taking a big trip, so you're saving and you're only using a portion of that on an entertainment month to month, but you're building that fund so you can pay cash for that trip. The key to budgeting is planning ahead, so when those expenses arrive, you're planned and prepared and you can pay cash for them. That way when you take that vacation and you come home and go back to work, you're actually relaxed because the vacation was enjoyable, it was planned, it was paid for, and now you're not working to pay it off, you're working to plan and prepare for the next event you want to do. Be strategic. Clothing and personal care should take about 5 to 10% of your income as well. This can be haircuts and things of that nature. You just have to plan it ahead. You know you're going to need a haircut. You know you're going to go buy your makeup. You know these things that you're going to spend money on. They may only happen once a month. They may happen once a quarter. Whatever the expenses, you need to think through. When budgeting, you don't just look at 1 month and say, oh, these are my bills. There are bills that come every 6 months, like insurance. There are bills that come annually, like taxes. There are certain things that you have to plan ahead. So look at your year's budget, look at things, and then average out what it would be for each month. That helps you prepare. And then I always like to have a miscellaneous or emergency fund of 5 to 10%. I know I mentioned in savings, saving 5 to 10% for emergencies, but this is to me a different fund. This isn't necessarily a medical emergency. This is just things that come up, and then we can leave our emergency fund that we have set for 3 to 6 months for things that could be catastrophic, like losing a job. So put a little bit aside into miscellaneous. If you don't want to call it emergency, that's fine. I have a category that's just strictly miscellaneous. These are things maybe I wasn't planning. It gives me that spontaneity. It's just a little bit of what I call my slush fund. I can do that. It's above and beyond other things. It's just there to give me that cushion, that wiggle room if I want to do something spontaneously. But you have to make sure you can afford that and make sure your budget allocates for it. Now, if you add all of these up, obviously if you go to the higher end of these ranges on all of them, you go above 100%. So you need to determine where you're at. What things do you currently have that you cannot change? Perhaps you're locked in to rent or a mortgage and you can't change that right now. What percentage is that? Maybe it's 38%. That means the other categories, you may not get to go to the higher end because you're already tapped into that percentage in something that is locked in. So find all your locked in expenses first and see what percentage those are. Then go through these other items and determine what percent you can have. Bottom line is it can only go up to 100%. Now, if you're short and you come to 90% and all your expenses are paid, that's great. Now you can take that extra 10% and put it where you want. Maybe you have better vacations. Maybe you go and buy some more clothes, or perhaps you plan for your future self even better and you bump that up to 20 or 25% of your savings. But it cannot go over 100%. Even if you're at 101%, that means 1% of your income is going to be turned into debt. So if I make $3,000 a month, 1% would mean that $30 a month is going on to debt. It may not seem like much, but at the end of the year, you've added $360 to debt. Small amounts of debt can add up to huge amounts of burden. But remember, small amounts of savings can snowball into huge amounts of investments. Check out this video that we did here. So remember, these percentages are just starting points. Everything's going to be unique based on you. This is just to give you a guideline on how to get started. Take the time, go through your budget, go through your annual statements, pull out your bank statements for the last 12 months and write everything down and categorize it. And then figure out where you're at, put the percentages you need, and then stick to that. You'll begin to see yourself making progress digging out of debt. You'll begin to see yourself making progress building wealth. And before you know it, you'll reach that financial freedom. And these categories can totally be changed because now you're talking about investing. Now you're talking about opportunities that are there because you have so much more expendable cash to save and to invest. So as promised, here's the strategic tip that I believe helps get people to that financial freedom. It may seem simple, but so many people don't take advantage of this opportunity. First, set realistic goals and expectations. Don't go into this month one, I'm going to save 80% of my income. You're going to set yourself up for failure. Be realistic. You can always adjust it a few months down the road if you see that you have much more to save. But start with a realistic goal so it doesn't become a burden. Number 2 is prioritize savings and debt repayment. As you begin to do this, as you begin to build savings, but more importantly, as you begin to reduce debt, you'll find this burden becoming less and less, and you'll find the stress being removed from your life and a freedom beginning to enter in financially that you've not felt before. Number 3 is review and adjust your budget on a regular basis. Once you set this budget up, you're not set in stone. Be flexible. Don't be frivolous, but be flexible. Give yourself opportunity to say, you know what, I need to put a little bit more money into this category. There's all sorts of reasons. We could sit here for 3 hours listing reasons why you may have to adjust. Expenses come and go in different ways in different people's lives. So be flexible, but be sensible. And the game-changing tip Automate your savings. We've talked about automating your investing, but also automate your savings. Open up a separate bank account, a separate savings account, and put an automatic payment into that. It may be for saving for your emergency fund. It may be saving for your next car. Put it out of sight, somewhere it's accessible, somewhere you can get to it, but somewhere you don't see it day in and day out. And that way, when your paycheck comes in, savings goes out first and it's a priority. This helps set the stage for you to build your financial wealth and freedom for the future. So that's it, percentage-based budgeting. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, throw me a like, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for the next video with the tips and tricks to help you achieve financial freedom. And as always, we'll see you next time on Simply Money.